All right, Raider Nation, let's get into it, because there's a report floating around right now that's got people in their feelings, and I want to walk through it with you the right way before you go off half-cocked in the comments somewhere else. There's a graphic going around claiming Fernando Mendoza just got benched. Let that sink in for a second. The man hasn't taken a single regular season snap in the NFL, not one, and somehow the internet's already got him riding the pine. That's the world we live in now. Headlines built for clicks, not for truth. So let's slow down and actually talk about what's real here. This whole thing traces back to Ian Rappaport, who dropped some information about how the Raiders are approaching the quarterback room heading into this season. According to him, the plan right now is for Kirk Cousins to be the guy, start all 17 games, while Fernando Mendoza, the #1 overall pick, sits, watches, and learns. No benching involved, no demotion. Just a plan that was already in motion long before this report ever came out. And look, I get why people want to argue about it, because on paper it sounds like a real quarterback competition. Is it though? Is it actually a battle? Or is this just the Raiders being transparent about a decision they already made months ago? Because from where I'm sitting, this has Kirk Cousins' name written all over it from day one. Healthy, veteran, established, at least at the start of the year, throughout the middle of the year, and hopefully still standing tall by the time the season wraps up. Because if he's still out there in December, that tells you two things. He stayed on his feet, and the team found a way to win with him under center. Meanwhile, Fernando gets to do what most rookies desperately need to do, but rarely get the chance to sit back, watch, and absorb everything without the pressure of Sundays crushing him before he's ready. Now here's the thing nobody should be shocked about. This was never some last-minute curveball. Go back to the moment Clint Kubiak got hired. Go back to when John Spytek came aboard. Even Tom Brady, sitting there as a minority owner, has been dropping hints about exactly how this was going to play out. The organization has been signaling this for a while now. The only way Fernando starts week 1 is if he comes into camp and completely erases any doubt, if he looks so far ahead of the curve that the coaching staff can't justify holding him back. Outside of that, Cousins gets the keys and Fernando gets the clipboard. And I know, some people hear that and immediately panic. Why draft a guy #1 overall and not throw him out there right away? I've heard other coaches around the league say exactly that, questioning the logic, acting like this is some kind of wasted opportunity. And to that, I'll say it plainly. This isn't your locker room, this isn't your franchise, and this definitely isn't your quarterback to worry about. We are playing a much longer game here, one that isn't built around instant gratification or proving a point to outsiders. It's built around actually getting this thing right. So let me talk to my people, the real Raider faithful, for a second. If you're sitting there stressed out about Fernando not starting week 1, breathe. Take a step back, because honestly, I'm completely fine with this approach, and that's coming from someone who was fully in tank mode not too long ago, rooting for exactly this outcome, landing Fernando Mendoza with that top pick. I wanted him here. I wanted this future. But wanting it doesn't mean I want it rushed. I'm looking at the long-term picture, not just the next 3 months. Think about what actually happens when you let a rookie quarterback sit behind a guy like Cousins instead of throwing him into the fire immediately. First, there's no early career scar tissue, no getting fed to divisional defenses before he's physically and mentally ready. Yeah, rookies are going to stumble no matter what, that's just part of the deal, but you don't want his very first taste of the NFL to be a beating that rattles his confidence for years. We've seen that story before around this league, and it never ends well. Second, he gets time, real time. Time to actually digest an NFL playbook instead of trying to sprint through it while getting blitzed on Sundays. When Fernando's holding a clipboard on the sideline instead of getting sacked in the pocket, he's watching Kirk Cousins operate, how he reads coverages, how he manages the huddle, how he handles the grind of being a starter week to week, the preparation, the film work, the mental reset after a bad quarter. That's priceless. You cannot simulate that kind of on-the-job education by throwing a rookie out there and hoping he figures it out in real time while cameras are rolling and the whole city is watching. And he gets to learn straight from Clint Kubiak too. Every single practice rep, every walkthrough, every classroom session. This is a coach installing a brand new system. And instead of Fernando trying to learn it under fire, he gets to build that foundation the right way, brick by brick, without the added chaos of live bullets flying at him from opposing pass rushers. Because here's the truth, nobody wants to say out loud, this isn't a "we need to win right now" situation. I would love nothing more than an instant turnaround. Don't get me wrong, but that's not realistic. And pretending otherwise does this franchise no favors. This is about constructing something that actually lasts. And when it comes to the quarterback position specifically, there is zero room for error this time around. We all remember how the last quarterback of the future experiment turned out around here, and nobody wants to relive that disaster. So if I had the final say, I'd rather Fernando sit, develop, and enter the starting picture on his terms, not because the fan base got impatient in September. Now here's where things get even more interesting, because this isn't just a coaching staff decision anymore. Ownership is involved emotionally too. Tom Brady, who holds a minority stake in the franchise, recently showed up at Fanatics Fest and dropped a bombshell of his own. He revealed that he went out and purchased the one-of-one autographed rookie card of Fernando Mendoza. Not just any card, the actual first career autograph, the single rarest piece in existence. Brady talked about getting more into the card collecting scene lately, praising what Fanatics and Topps have been building in the hobby space. But then he said something that stopped me in my tracks. He pointed out that the #1 overall pick happens to play for the Raiders now, and once that Mendoza card hit the market, he knew he had to have it. He went and found it. He got it. His first official NFL autograph as a collector, and it wasn't cheap either. He even admitted there was serious back-and-forth negotiation before the deal closed, and he paid a steep price to walk away with it. But listen to how he framed the purchase. He called it a win-win. Not just a cool collectible for his personal stash, but something he believes is going to bring the franchise good fortune, while helping push Fernando toward a big-time career. And on the surface, sure, you could brush that off. Okay, cool, Brady bought a card, big deal. But dig one layer deeper, and this starts to mean a whole lot more than a rich guy adding to his collection. Because remember, Brady isn't just some outside investor with money in the building. He's got real equity here, real stake in whether this franchise succeeds or continues to spin its wheels. And knowing Brady's competitive DNA, knowing how badly he wants to build a winning culture in Las Vegas, this is personal for him. When the Raiders thrive, his investment thrives right alongside them. So when he's out there publicly hunting down and paying a premium for Fernando's rookie autograph, that's not just a fan move. That's him signaling exactly where his focus is headed. Fernando's development, Fernando's trajectory, Fernando's long-term success. That's now tied directly into Brady's own vested interest in this franchise's future. And think about the layers here. If Fernando eventually becomes the guy everyone's hoping he'll become, that one-of-one card Brady's holding, its value explodes. So Brady's not just rooting for Fernando out of loyalty to the franchise. He's got literal financial skin in the game now, stacked right on top of his ownership stake. It's a two-sided investment, and that's exactly why I don't think Brady is going to sit back and just watch from a suite. I think he's going to be hands-on, involved, whispering in ears, making sure this organization gives Fernando every possible tool and opportunity to succeed, because Brady benefits either way it plays out. So put yourself in Fernando's shoes for a second. You've got the head coach building a system specifically designed to develop you the right way. You've got a front office that drafted you with intention, not desperation. And now you've got a Hall of Fame quarterback, a literal minority owner who just spent real money proving he's emotionally and financially invested in your career taking off. That's not pressure in the negative sense. That's support. That's a franchise wrapping its arms around a young quarterback and saying, we're not going to rush this and we're not going to let you fail. Now I'll throw the question back at you, Raider Nation. Am I reaching here, connecting dots that don't need connecting? Or does this actually track? Because when I look at everything together, the coaching staff's patience, the front office's long-term vision, and now Brady's personal financial interest tied directly to Fernando's success, it paints a pretty clear picture for me. Everybody in that building benefits if this kid develops the right way, and everybody in that building loses if he gets rushed and struggles. So doesn't it make sense that they'd protect that asset instead of gambling with it? I'll be honest with you, I'm holding on to hope that by the time a Super Bowl eventually rolls back through Las Vegas, we're not just hosting it, we're playing in it. That's the dream. That's always been the dream since this franchise relocated. And I believe patience with Fernando right now is one of the pieces that gets us closer to that reality instead of further away from it. Now let's shift gears for a second, because there's another storyline worth talking about, and it involves Brock Bowers. The league just released its top 100 players list, and Bowers landed at number 60 overall. Now on the surface, that might sting a little, especially when you consider he was ranked 24th last year after an absolute breakout rookie campaign. That's a 36 spot drop, and I know some of you are already in the comments saying he deserved better than that. And honestly, I hear you, but I also understand the context behind the drop. This past season wasn't smooth for him physically. He battled through injuries and ended up missing 5 games total. Even with all of that working against him, he still managed to put up 64 receptions, 680 receiving yards, and 7 touchdowns, which by the way is a new career high for him, on top of earning a Pro Bowl selection. That's not a bad season by any stretch. That's a guy still producing at an elite level despite his body not cooperating the whole way through. And here's the part that should make you feel better about where he stands. Even after landing at 60 on this overall list, he's still being ranked as the #1 tight end in the entire league heading into the 2026 season, according to actual coaches, scouts, and front office executives around the NFL. Think about that for a second. Injuries and missed time still weren't enough to knock him off the top spot at his position in the eyes of the people who actually evaluate this stuff for a living. And when you break down why he's still viewed that way, it makes complete sense. His route running is polished beyond his years. His ability to create separation against man and zone coverage is elite. His instincts within zone concepts let him find soft spots that a lot of tight ends never develop a feel for. And then there's his ability after the catch. The yards after contact, the way he turns a simple check down into a chunk gain because defenders simply can't bring him down clean. Add all of that together, and you understand exactly why evaluators still see him as the best at his position, regardless of where a general ranking list decided to slot him. Now factor in Clint Kubiak stepping into this offense with a brand new system, and suddenly the ceiling for Bowers this season looks even higher. The expectations are sky high, and rightfully so, and he's not going to be the only one carrying that weight. Ashton Jeanty is right there with him. Those two are being counted on as the primary engines of this offense. The guy's expected to take that next step and actually make this unit competitive on a weekly basis instead of just flashing potential in spurts. And that's really what excites me heading into this season. Not just watching Bowers continue to develop into arguably the best tight end in football, but watching this entire team take shape under this new coaching staff. The Clint Kubiak era officially kicks off this year, and I'm hoping, praying honestly, that we finally see a version of this team that looks legitimately competitive from week 1 on, not just flashes of competitiveness followed by collapses. Even getting to 7, 8, maybe 9 wins this season would be a real tangible sign of progress for a franchise that's been searching for direction for a while now. So that's where we're at right now. Fernando sitting and developing behind a veteran, Tom Brady putting his money where his mouth is on Fernando's future, and Brock Bowers still holding down the top tight end spot in football despite an injury-riddled season. A lot of pieces moving at once, but honestly, all of them pointing toward the same larger goal: building something sustainable in Las Vegas instead of chasing quick fixes that never actually stick. But let's talk about the pressure this puts on Kirk Cousins for a second, because I don't think enough people are addressing that side of the equation. This isn't just sit the rookie and coast. Cousins now walks into the season knowing that every single throw, every third down conversion, every red zone possession is going to be measured against a countdown clock that only he can control. If he plays well and this team looks competitive, the noise around Fernando quiets down completely. Nobody's clamoring for a change when the offense is humming, and the record reflects it. But the second Cousins throws a couple of untimely interceptions, the second this offense stalls out in back-to-back games, that noise doesn't just creep back in, it explodes. Fans have long memories and even shorter patience, and if there's a former #1 overall pick sitting on the bench while the starter struggles, that pressure cooker gets turned up fast. So in a strange way, Cousins isn't just playing for wins this season, he's playing to buy Fernando time. Every good performance is another week where the development plan stays intact. Every rough outing chips away at the leash the organization is willing to give him. That's a heavy thing to carry, especially for a veteran who's dealt with plenty of scrutiny throughout his career already. But that's the reality of the situation he stepped into, whether he signed up for that exact framing or not. And I think that's what makes this whole storyline so much more layered than people want to admit. It's easy to reduce it down to rookie sits, veteran starts, but there's an entire chess match happening underneath that surface. The coaching staff is managing Fernando's psychological runway. Cousins is managing his own legacy while essentially functioning as a bridge. The front office is managing public expectations after years of instability at the position, and now Brady's managing his own financial and emotional stake in how all of it plays out. Every single person involved has something on the line, and none of those interests are fully separate from one another. They're all tangled together, feeding off each other's success or failure. That's why I keep coming back to the idea that this isn't reckless, and it isn't some cop-out excuse to avoid throwing a rookie into the fire unprepared. It's a calculated bet that patience now prevents heartbreak later. We've watched too many promising young quarterbacks around this league get rushed onto the field before the roster around them was ready, before the coaching staff had installed real structure, before the kid himself had time to build real confidence in what he was seeing from opposing defenses. And more often than not, that rushed timeline doesn't just delay development, it actively damages it. Confidence is fragile at that level, and once it cracks early, it can take years to fully repair, if it ever fully does. So when I look at everything laid out in front of us, the coaching staff's approach, Cousins' role as both starter and buffer, Brady's personal and financial investment, and the overall organizational philosophy of building this thing the right way instead of the fast way, I keep landing in the same place. This is a franchise trying to learn from its own mistakes instead of repeating them. And if that means Fernando doesn't take a single snap until he's truly ready, then so be it. Better a quarterback who steps in fully prepared than one who gets thrown to the wolves just to satisfy outside noise demanding instant results. I want to hear where you land on all of this. Are you fully on board with the patient approach at quarterback, or does part of you still wish they'd just hand Fernando the keys right now and let him sink or swim? Drop your honest take, because I know this fan base has strong opinions on both sides, and I'm here for the debate either way.